What is up, guys? Zan from Forward Progress Madden, and in this video we are going to change the way that you play and construct your teams in Ultimate Team and Salary Cap. So whether you're a no money spent guy, whether you rick packs every single day, whether you're a salary cap player that tanks your offensive line, or whether you're a salary cap player that believes in paying for offensive linemen, this video is going to help you and the way you think about Madden when it comes to the offensive line engaging with the defensive line. So first off, I want to make sure you guys are following Clint Oldenburg at Clint Oldenburg on Twitter. He is one of the Madden NFL designers, and he does the offensive and defensive line interactions as well as a bunch of other stuff. He's a great follow. He's a great guy. More than happy to help you guys out, answer questions on Twitter. Very transparent guy. I'm thankful that he's a developer or a designer on the title. And he really does work hard for you guys. So this video is actually about something that Clint Oldenburg tweeted a while back. So if I were to go all the way back in his tweet history, which I don't have the tweet up in front of me, but I do have some of his tweets saved that I'll show you. A few weeks ago, he had a conversation just in general about what's important in an offensive lineman. It was just somebody who was asking, probably for CFM purposes. And basically what Clint Oldenburg was talking about was, in real life, there were teammates that he had when he played for the Redskins. And basically what he said is that, even though he out weightlifted them in the weight room, that didn't necessarily translate when it came to pass protection. However, it was definitely a help in run blocking. And he mentioned several weeks ago that weight was very, very important in the run blocking game. And at that point in time, I thought, that's pretty interesting, but I didn't really look into it too much more. And then recently he got another question, and we'll go ahead and start with that. Somebody had originally asked him how important strength was, and Clint answered and said it's part of a formula, and the guy asked if it was completely useless in a given scenario, and Clint Oldenburg replied, no, not necessarily. It's actually used with body weight and run blocking in the formula. So what he's saying is that when you're talking about a running play, you're going to use body weight, run blocking, and strength together to help decide how the interaction will go. And that's going to go against the defensive player's strength, block shed, and body weight. So offense is going to use run block, body weight, and strength. Defense is going to use block shed, body weight, and strength. So those three things all factor in. And you can see there on the bottom example, the player's actually pretty surprised that body weight matters. And Clint goes a little bit further to help the player out. He says it does to a limited extent, limited meaning the get engage portion of the run play. So you know how I am. I have to figure things out. So I responded to Clint. I said, hey, when you refer to the initial get engage of a play, what exactly are you referring to? And how long is this step in a given run play? And Clint replied, and he said it's the first animation triggered when an offensive lineman engages a defensive lineman. The defensive lineman either goes back or halts at the line of scrimmage, creating a stalemate. And we've all seen that. You either get a push or you get that stalemate animation up front. So my next step, naturally, is to go to the Muthead database. So what I've done is I've highlighted all linemen, regardless of position, and elite. And I went into their filters and I went weights higher than 315. And we sorted those out. And as you can see, there are a lot of players that are really, really heavy when it comes to the offensive line. Now, we can use Cordy Glenn as an example. We look at this milestone item for Cordy Glenn. He is 345 pounds. He has 89 strength and 80 run block. So we talk about the three things that matter in this engagement with a defensive player. It's weight, strength, and run block rating. We talk about the 89 strength. That's pretty darn good. We talk about the weight, 345. That's elite. I mean, you talk about linemen on defense that weigh 345 pounds. That would be like Don Terry Poe. He's a left tackle, so he's going to be blocking defensive ends. Defensive ends in a 3-4 are going to weigh 305 to 315 pounds. So Cordy Glenn's going to have a 30-pound advantage on a 3-4 defensive end, and he's going to have probably a 85-pound weight advantage 70 to 80 pounds, depending on who he's playing, in a 4-3 defensive end or 3-4 outside linebacker. So he's going to win the weight battle portion of the algorithm against 99% of players that he's going to go against. Now, that's 1/3 according to Clint. Now, when Clint said 1/3, I'm not sure that necessarily means 33%. Maybe he's just saying, because he only has 140 characters on Twitter, that it's 1 out of 3 things that matter, and not necessarily that all things are equal when doing the algorithm. But what I'm saying is that at least we know that Cordy Glenn is going to win that portion, the weight portion, every single down against his matchup. Unless somebody decides to play Don Terry Poe out there, in which it'd be 345 pounds against 345 pounds, and it would basically be a stalemate for that portion of the algorithm. Now, we talk about left tackles again. Strength rating. Cordy Glenn is rocking an 89 strength rating. That is going to be good enough to beat many rushers. So I don't want to get too far off of the path here, but I'm going to load up another tab, and I'm going to sort by pass rushers. Here's the top of the line Khalil Mack that just came out. He has 89 speed, 87 strength. So you're talking about if that matchup against Cordy Glenn went down, you'd have Khalil Mack. We'll even go into his player card. You see that Khalil Mack weighs 265 pounds. He's giving up 80 pounds to Cordy Glenn. He's giving up 2 strength to Cordy Glenn. So according to the formula, you have a situation in which Cordy Glenn is winning 2/3 of the initial get engage algorithm. And even though Cordy Glenn has 80 run block or whatever it was versus 94 block shed, you would think that Khalil Mack is going to win this every single down, right? But Khalil Mack is giving up 2/3 of the initial get engage step. Now, again, Clint Oldenburg said this is a limited extent. So we're talking about that initial interaction. At least we know that the initial interaction between Cordy Glenn and Khalil Mack will result the majority of the time in Cordy Glenn winning and getting a push before the block shed occurs. Now, the block shed is going to occur because Khalil Mack has the 94 block shed versus the 80 run block of Cordy Glenn, as we go back and show you. But we know that Cordy Glenn is going to get a push versus Khalil Mack the majority of the time. So that is basically what we are trying to hammer home with this video, is that is going to result in you winning with a lot more items than you thought. Now, being that I'm a salary cap player, of course I decided to look into this more. So let's go ahead and take the elite feature off and sort by weight. And look, all of a sudden we see a lot of bronzes and silvers and golds hop into the equation. So depending on how you like to spend on your line, you can create the Fat 5 run blocking line for salary cap. Now, this is pretty sick. You're talking about Denzel Good. We'll go and look at his item. If you pay 15 cap for Denzel Good, you're going to get 86 strength, 339 pounds, with 82 run block. And that is not that bad. You're talking about he's going to win the weight battle the majority of the time. And depending on who he's blocking, if it's a 3-4 outside linebacker or a 4-3 defensive end, more often than not, he's going to have the chops in the strength department as well. He'll probably not win the run block versus the block shed, but you're going to get that initial 2/3 win with Denzel Good. We talk about that with Cyril Richardson. We go ahead and look at his item. Cyril Richardson, 343 pounds, 86 strength, 79 run block. Again, pretty solid. We're talking about guys who will typically put 6 cap defensive tackles in big dime 2-3-6, and they'll play outside linebackers at those positions. Those outside linebackers aren't going to have the strength rating that Cyril Richardson has. It's going to be a pretty good matchup. We go back to our team again. Byron Bell. If you spend 13 cap on Byron Bell, you're going to get a big guy, 340 pounds. That's going to match up at center, even though he's a left guard. He's going to match up with a Don Terry Poe. He's got 88 strength. He's 340 pounds. 73 run block isn't going to, prevent block sheds, but more often than not, he's going to get that initial push let's say we'll compare him to like Geno Atkins. We can look at Geno Atkins. I know that Geno Atkins has higher strength, but if we look at Geno Atkins, we can see that he weighs 37 pounds less than Byron Bell. Yes, he has a little bit more strength, but I don't think that the 88 strength versus 92 strength is in a realm where Geno Atkins is just going to destroy him every down. I think you could earn some stalemates in that category with, obviously Geno's going to win the block shed versus the run block, but Byron Bell wins the weight versus Geno, and then the strength is going to dice roll. I don't know that that's the underworkings of how it works, but that's the way I'm imagining it. Next guy, we talk about Antoine Mcclain. Antoine Mcclain is, we go ahead and look at his item. Antoine Mcclain, 336 pounds, 79 strength, isn't popping off the charts, but again, he's 11 cap. Not a bad situation with him. If you're going to tank, you might as well use the heaviest tank guy you could possibly use anyways, which is definitely Antoine Mcclain. Now we go back to our last player, Trent Brown. Trent Brown, the heaviest lineman in Madden, checking in at 3.5 biscuits. He's 89 strength, 75 run block. Again, 13 cap, that's very, very low. So you guys are seeing what I'm doing here with this offensive line. All these guys weigh 330 to 350 pounds, 355 pounds, and they all have high 80s strength and low to mid 70s run block. Now, when I was down at Mutthead headquarters last week, we tested out this line against players who were running Mutt Unlimited teams with, stud linemen like Javon Curse, Dontari Poe, et cetera, et cetera. And what we were noticing when we did this is that, yes, the players did get block shed, but they were getting that initial push off the line to push their guy 2 yards, 3 yards downfield, and then giving up the block shed. So by the time your running back was reaching contact, he was either, at the line of scrimmage or maybe 1 or 2 yards past the line of scrimmage before the guy was starting to block shed. It's much better than getting block shed in the backfield or at the point of attack. So I hope this video was informative for you guys. Again, I'm not speaking for EA. I'm not saying that this is exactly how it works. I'm just using information that was put out by the designers to let you guys know that weight is something that matters. And as you can tell right here, when you're playing salary cap, you don't have to pay for weight. You just have to pay for the strength and the run block. So take advantage of this tip. I don't know how long it's going to last. Just wanted to put that out there, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with another Madden 17 video. Until tomorrow, this is Zan. Get in the lab, and good luck.